Have you ever felt a kind of sadness that doesn't come from one big event, but from a slow, quiet shift in life? A feeling that settles in the heart after 65, not loud or dramatic, but always there like a soft ache that never truly goes away. It's the silence after the phone stops ringing as often. It's the empty chair at the dinner table, where someone used to sit. It's the realization that your calendar used to be full, and now you have to find reasons to leave the house. And sometimes, it's just the sound of your own breathing in the middle of the night, when sleep won't come. No one warns you about this kind of pain. Not the doctors. Not the books. Not even your friends, because many of them are feeling it too, but don't know how to speak about it. After 65, we are told to relax, to enjoy life, to finally rest. But what if resting feels more like fading? What if silence starts to feel like loneliness, and stillness like being forgotten? This video is not about fear. It's about honesty and hope. Because if you felt this silent pain, you're not alone and you don't have to carry it quietly anymore. Let's talk about it, together. Let's listen to one another. Because even in the stillness, there is strength. And in your story, there is meaning. Walter is 72 years old. He lives in the same small house he once shared with his wife Margaret. The garden still blooms in spring, just like it did when they planted those roses together 40 years ago. But now, the blooms come and go without anyone to admire them. The curtains still move gently with the morning breeze, but the house feels still too still. Every morning, Walter makes himself a cup of tea. He sets it on the kitchen table, beside an empty chair. Old habits die hard. Sometimes he forgets Margaret is gone. Other times, he remembers all too clearly. He used to work with his hands, a carpenter who built things that would last. He made furniture for friends, cribs for his grandchildren, and even the porch swing out front. But now his hands are slower. He drops things more often. His toolbox sits untouched in the garage, collecting dust. It's not just about missing someone. It's about missing yourself. The version of you that felt needed. That had purpose. That was asked for advice. Called upon to fix things. To show up. Walter doesn't talk much about how he feels. He grew up in a time when men didn't cry, when you kept your struggles private. But inside there's a heaviness. Not the sharp pain of heartbreak, but the dull, quiet ache of being slowly forgotten. His children love him. They call when they can. But life moves fast, and Walter has learned not to expect too much. Birthdays come with short video calls. Holidays bring noise, then silence again. One night, Walter sat on his porch alone, the stars overhead, a blanket across his lap, and he whispered something to the night sky, not loud, not desperate, just honest. I'm still here, I still have stories, I still want to matter. That whisper, though small, held power. Because even in our quietest moments, the desire to be seen and heard never fades. Aging doesn't take away your value. It simply changes the way the world sees you, and sometimes we must remind the world we are still here. And that reminder begins with a voice, yours. There's a quiet kind of grief that settles in with age, not always about death, but about the slow disappearance of things once taken for granted. Walter didn't lose everything at once. It happened gradually. First, it was his morning routine with Margaret, the soft hum of her singing as she cooked eggs, the clink of her spoon against the teacup. Then came the silence during family gatherings, where conversations swirled around technology and fast-paced lives, and he could no longer keep up. He laughed less, not because he wasn't happy, but because the jokes weren't meant for him anymore. One of the most painful things about aging isn't physical. It's the feeling of becoming invisible. At the grocery store, younger people brush past without eye contact. At family dinners, decisions are made without asking what he thinks. Doctors speak more to his adult children than to him. He starts to wonder, do they see me? Or just an old man sitting in the corner? This quiet erasure of identity is something many older adults never speak of, not because it isn't real, but because they've been taught to accept it. To age gracefully, to not complain. But inside, it hurts. It hurts to not be asked for advice after a lifetime of wisdom. It hurts to watch your hands tremble where they once built, to watch your memory falter where it once held so much. It hurts to long for touch, a warm hand, a steady hug but not want to burden anyone by asking. Walter often tells himself, "At least I'm still here." And that's true, but just being here isn't enough when the soul longs to be seen. The truth is, aging doesn't erase our need for connection. If anything, it deepens it. What no one tells you after 65 is that you will still crave meaning, still hunger for conversation, still long to laugh with someone who truly listens. You will still want to share not just memories, but hopes. And those hopes are not foolish. They are sacred. Because to grow older is not to stop living, it is to carry the weight of life more quietly and still search for light. Walter may sit in silence, but inside there is a storm of memories, of feelings, of truths the world needs to hear. And perhaps that's where healing begins, in finally giving yourself permission to speak. What no one tells you after 65 is that healing is still possible even in the quietest chapters of life. Not through grand events, but through small awakenings. Through moments when you stop pretending you're fine and finally let yourself feel. One of the first truths: you are allowed to grieve things others don't see. You can grieve your energy, the ease with which you used to get up and go. You can grieve the way people used to listen to you. You can even grieve a version of yourself that feels far away now, stronger, faster, more needed. This grief is not weakness. It's honesty. And honesty is where true peace begins. Second, you don't have to carry everything alone. Many older adults have spent decades being the strong one, the caregiver, the rock, the silent supporter. But strength also means knowing when it's time to speak. To say, "I'm lonely." To admit, "I miss feeling important." To whisper, even if only to yourself, "I want someone to hear me." Because that whisper carries power. Another truth is this: you are still growing, even now. The world often talks about growth as something for the young, but some of the most profound growth happens when we are older. We begin to let go of what never really mattered. We learn to forgive, not because others deserve it, but because our hearts deserve rest. We stop chasing approval and start seeking peace. Walter realized this not all at once, but little by little. In the way he began journaling again, not for anyone else, but to remember his own voice. In the way he started walking outside every morning, not to exercise, but to feel the sky. In the way he began talking to neighbors again just to smile, a hello, rebuilding small bridges in a world that had felt too distant. What no one tells you is that you still matter. Not because of what you do, but simply because you are still here. Still breathing. Still capable of love, of insight, of change. The world may forget, but you don't have to forget yourself. And maybe that's where a new kind of life begins, not with noise or attention, but with the quiet decision to believe, "I am not done yet." Maybe the greatest truth that no one tells you after 65 is that your story is not over. Not because of some miracle waiting on the horizon, not because everything will magically feel better tomorrow, but because inside you, beneath the quiet, beneath the aches, beneath the forgotten birthdays, and the empty seats, there still beats a heart that has loved deeply, lost quietly, and endured gracefully. That matters. Walter, like so many others, didn't find healing in noise or attention. He found it in learning to sit with himself and listen. He didn't need to be the center of anyone's world. He just needed to remember that he still had something to give, even if it was just a kind word to the mailman, a warm smile to a stranger, or the soft wisdom he offered his grandson during a quiet afternoon. Aging brings many silent losses, yes, but it also offers something rare: clarity. The kind of clarity that strips away the superficial and reveals what truly matters: love, connection, peace, presence. So if you're watching this and you felt forgotten, if the silence around you has started to feel heavier than words can describe, let this be your reminder. You are not invisible. You are not alone. And you are not done. You still have value, not because of what you used to do, but because of who you are right now. Your story may have slowed its pace, but it still has chapters left. And sometimes, those last chapters, the quiet ones, are the ones that hold the most meaning. If this message touched your heart, we invite you to leave a comment below. Tell us your story. Tell us what aging has taught you. We are here to listen, truly listen. And if you know someone who needs this reminder, share this video with them. Subscribe to Golden Age Life for more gentle stories, healing reflections, and quiet companionship for your soul. Because life after 65 still matters. And so do you, always.